Welcome, everybody, to Nothing Less Than Extraordinary. We are live, and I'm so excited because I'm pumped because this lady has so much energy. Welcome, Kathy Weaver, KC. Thank you for being on the show.
Wow, thank you very much, Ry. Kansas City is alive and well, enjoying this 4th of July holiday weekend. And if people are making it 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, maybe a whole week, I don't know, but we love to celebrate. Thank you for having me on today.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. I can't wait to dive in and to really get to know Kathy. So this whole podcast, the interview is getting to know Kathy. She is so much more. She has so many things going on. So I can't wait to dive in. Let's start with just this. Can we just look at the beautiful background of that firework with the 4th of July? And today it's Canada Day. It's 1st of Canada. So happy Canada Day. I love it.
This was perfect timing for both of us. I appreciate that.
It really is. So a little bio of Kathy, because I want to be able to say this properly. So Kathy is an author, she's a speaker, and she's also a trainer, and she does so many things. And you know what we're going to be able to discover with regards to her book. She is so knowledgeable and just has this fire energy, but she's so genuine and so down to earth. I wish I could just have a part of her personality display like in my pocket so I can just pull it out at any time. So I'm so excited right now.
Well, as I said, I'm thrilled to be here, and getting to meet you in the Happy Neighborhood Project has been another dynamic highlight of that incredible organization. And to think after 2.5 years of having discovered it and it's still free to everyone is so I love that we met there.
Oh, it's amazing. It's fantastic. So many beautiful people there. I want to give a shout out to a couple people there and so many good people. So I don't want to pick and choose and favorites. So we're just going to say happy neighborhood. Check it out. The happy co-op. So the other thing that I wanted to be able to do is before we actually dive into the topic, I want to be able to know what Kathy was like when she was a young kid, her upbringing, what that looked like, where you grew up, and how that kind of lead you into doing what you're doing now and inspiring so many people and being such a great leader.
Well, thank you again. And I grew up in Kansas City. I was born in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I always say 100 years ago, so please don't do the math. And so, but I have lived most of my life already in Kansas City, so I love that. It's right in the center of everything. So I travel to the West Coast. I get to go to Los Angeles. That's the home office for my Enagic Kangen water business. So I get to go to LA oftentimes for award ceremonies and conventions and things. So I love that. I've been to Minnesota before. I love that. We have an office in Dallas. I love that. I have friends that we get to visit in Orlando and Daytona Beach. So I get to go West Coast, East Coast, North, South, and all across. And I've been to Hawaii a couple of times where we also have offices. So being right in the middle has worked so well for me. People say all the time, oh my gosh, the winters are so cold. And I say yes, and the summers are so hot, but we also have lots of in between. So I love living here. My kids are here, and it's been fantastic. And quite frankly, when I started networking full time in 2008, I am so honored to be a part of so many lives in the Kansas City metro. And then, of course, pandemic, thing shut down. And so I had to learn how more efficiently to navigate all of this Zoom online platform. And I'm really glad that that happened from a standpoint of being able to meet people globally. And that has been a biggie for me. A lot of people had bought my first book. In 2012, I wrote a book called Networking on Steroids. And a lot of people had purchased that from Amazon. And Amazon does not give you a list, by the way, of who buys your book, because I literally sent a message. I'm sure they were cracking up. Excuse me, I'd like to have a list of all the people that bought my book because I'd like to connect with them and thank them. And they're like, no. And I'm like, well, I need to know who bought it. And obviously, hello, Catherine, that doesn't work like that. When my second book was published, He Hit the Clouds Running and Never Looked Back. That's a grief journey, what to say and what not to say when someone has died. I didn't put that one on Amazon because I wanted to connect personally with the people who experienced that or needed a platform to talk about their own loss or experience or homecoming, whatever they call the death piece. And then when the third book came out, Networking on Steroids PQ, which is post-quarantine, I knew better because for me, I want to connect with the people who read it So I know that the experience actually helped them learn a little bit more, because I do, Ry, I think we learn from each other, and I've
Mhm.
learned so much from you. And that's why I love being on this show with you today.
Oh, she is so good with things, and she's just so dynamic and so inspirational. I seen her on, just so welcoming and so charming and so knowledgeable in everything that she does. I want to be able to really dive in some of your book. So maybe we can really start with one that really speaks to you and really talk about the book a little bit more and some of the concept in there.
Okay, well, actually, one of my coaches I have is Delinda Lane, and
Okay.
Delinda Lane has a group called Fun Fearless Female Global Community of Christian Women. So
Ah.
I was in her group coaching session. There were 4 of us in the room, and she said, let's get to know each other a little better.
Mm.
So she said to me first, tell me about you. Tell us all about your life, your experiences. And I said, oh, I don't talk about my personal life. And she goes, this is a group coaching session, and kind of, yes, you do. And I said, well, no, I don't do that. And so she went to the next girl and she told us all about her journey. Oh my gosh. And then she went to the next lady and she shared her journey. And so then she gets to me and she goes, your turn. And I really don't do that. And she said, well, hello, you have to. And anyway, I laid it out there. I have had quite a bit of experience with death and dying and survivorship and heart attack, cancer, suicide. There's all types of experiences in my own personal life. And so she said, you need to write a book about that. I remember specifically saying to her, who would read it? She looked right at me and she said, that's not your problem. I was like, oh my God. And the other girls are silent, like, what happened? This was April of 2017. I published that book July 1 of 2017 because I already had it. I even had the cover, and that prior January, I had gotten the crescendo, the finale, if you will. And so in 4 months' time, it went from who would read it to published. And now I'm able to share it with the masses because it's even gone internationally now. And so one of my friends in Australia has actually been blessed by it as well. So it is phenomenal. One coaching session, one opportunity to be with Delinda and the ladies in that group coaching team. The next thing you know, my second book was born, and I'm able to bless a lot of people to let them speak about their grief journey, because nobody likes to do that as a rule.
And that coaching could be so amazing. I know I did a group coaching with my groups of powerful women, and now they're off. One has always had the dream over like close to 60 something years of writing a children's book. She's finally doing that. Another one used to be an actress, and she thought, like, like, I had lived through the dream. I can't be selfish. It's all about my kid. And now she's going back on acting. So many things happening and coaching. I love it. Just like there's so many opportunity to have this interaction and the connection, because you learn so much from your own participant and your own client as they're evolving. You're seeing, you're celebrating them, but you're also doing the biggest gift is the gift to yourself. You're thinking you're giving the gift to them, but they're giving you more gift.
That is 1,000,000% true. I always say to people when they say, oh my gosh, you're not charging enough, or how much do I owe you, or whatever the topic is. And I said, hang on a second. Always learn more from the people in my room than ever learn from me. And I mean that 1,000,000%. You hear about other people's life experiences, and the next thing you know, they're blessing us. And so training is one of the most fun things I do, certainly with my water business, but I also have leaders only please. And I do posting parties, about 16 a month now, as a matter of fact. And so when I do the training on some of these platforms, I always tell the participants, I learn more from you than you could ever learn from me. So please don't be afraid to ask questions.
That's it. And this is why my love for podcasts is, because it's all about a conversation. It's about celebrating humanity, celebrating each other's life story, and then putting it out there to share, and so to spread more of the love and the wisdom. I love this. And honestly, like, I am just like giggling. Every cell in my fiber, it's over fire.
Yeah.
So that's
And it's not just fireworks, right?
I know, and that firework just saying is I'm feeding it all in at the same time. And your book with regards to grief, I thought that was so good too. Like the sense that most people, when I lost my little baby sister to depression, most people didn't know how to talk to me, how to approach it, because you don't know, like you don't want to bring back bad memory. You don't want to say, let's turn the page. So what are some of the things that really people should actually be, how should they approach another one? So tell me more about that book and how people could actually approach, like wanting to show support, but not knowing what the right thing to say.
Absolutely. And with my experiences, and I don't ever shit on people because what you choose to do, that's your deal.
Yeah.
For me, I have found that I would never say, Ree, I'm sorry for your loss. You didn't lose your sister. She died. If you lost her, you could find her again, and you don't have that option. And so I always say, I hope very soon, someday, those tears streaming down your face will someday become a smile as your sister's memory warms your heart instead of rips it apart. Those are the types of things that all of a sudden you can kind of tell the person speaking has been there, done that. We have experience. I call it a PhD DD in my book. So once you read my book, you earn your PhD DD, personally having dealt with death degree. Once you've dealt with the death topic of a loved one, now able to say, tell me about her. And most people are going, oh, don't talk about, shh, maybe she forgot. Don't say anything about that. Maybe you forgot your sister, so let's not talk about depression, or let's not talk about ending your life. Let's not talk about that. And the person, of course, who has experiences like, yeah, like I totally forgot about her. So, I mean, seriously, and that's what they think happened. The people who have been through it, they say, what is your best memory of your sister?
I like it.
Your best memory. And what did she look like? Do you have a picture? And so go through something like that. And then you're like, oh my gosh, you just gave me the freedom to talk about my loved one. And most people, shh, don't say anything. Maybe she forgot.
Yeah.
And so then the 1-year anniversary comes and they're going, okay, yay, now you're over it. So no more grief, you're done. And so you're like, right. And so I'll never remember anybody again because the 1 year has passed. And like, yeah, that's not going to happen either. So when I did the, I guess you would call it the grief journey with my experiences, I've been there. I actually created postcards now because when we were meeting in person, and even now I've mailed several across the country, there was a funeral home in San Jose, California, actually, and they found out about my book and they said, we would like to have 100 of your postcards. And it's like, whoa, and it's what to say and what not to say when someone has died. And my opinion, take it or leave it. And so I sent it to him, obviously, and I've sent the postcards across the globe all the way to my friend in Australia, certainly. But I'm sorry for your loss. Oh my gosh, I didn't lose them. They died. Then you say things like, don't worry about it. You'll find another guy. Guys are a dime a dozen. And so those are some of the things. And then once again is, may that tear someday become a smile, and memories bring you comfort instead of all of a sudden the memory is so tragic. And so eventually you can turn that around. And one of the biggest things for me that has helped is I'm actually a believer, and without God, I can't imagine where I'd be now. And so I flipped it from, oh my gosh, another one died, ugh, which my original manuscript said, to, oh my gosh, I get to witness another homecoming. So you know where they are. Again, as a believer, the heaven thing works for me. And so once you know where they are, you're like, oh my gosh, what the coolest thing is this, that they actually are in the arms of God the Father. And it's such a relief and a release, if you will, because now it's not a tumultuous turmoil kind of deal. So depending upon your belief system and you know where your loved one is, it's not quite as tragic feeling as it would be if you're still having that struggle as far as life after death experiences.
I really enjoy what you said because it makes so much sense. I want two points that I want to touch on is with regards to, like, what is your best memory about your sister? It gives me the opportunity to talk about my sister again. Like, it's so true. And I remember an experience where a gentleman was actually on a wheelchair. It's kind of similar thing. Like, do you ask them about why they're on the wheelchair? Do you just pretend they're not on a wheelchair? Like, pretend you don't see that they're on a wheelchair? Obviously, they are in a wheelchair.
Just ignore them. They'll go away.
Exactly. And that actually situation taught me something, because I just go off and say it. I'm so curious about I asked him about why he was on a wheelchair, and he opened up. He's like, did you know you're one of the first person that didn't pretend as if I didn't exist and just pretend that I wasn't there, and actually was interested about my life, like why I'm in a wheelchair. And so, to your story, it's so perfect what you said. And the other thing too, with regards to, I wanted to mention about, like, with regards to my sister for this, like, I realized what made the grieving process. Now I'm no longer grieving my sister, thank God. I mean, she gave me that beautiful gift. After 2 years, before the first 2 years, I always felt that there was, like, when she died, as if a part of me died with her,
Yes.
because we're connected, right? But then after 2 years, I no longer had that empty void feeling. Like, now I live the life because I know that what does she really want ultimately for me? To see me happy. And most of us keep ourselves unhappy and sad because we're afraid that we'd be betraying them if we start to be happy again, because that means we've forgotten about them. But that's not true. And so when I had this dream, when she passed away only a couple of days, she came into my dream and she told me, sis, I am really in a great place. And I saw my great grandparents and a family member that I didn't know that passed away. And they were at this beautiful Zen location, beautiful flowers and everything. It was just magical. And my sister said, sis, this is where I'm at. I'm in good hands. So you go and live your beautiful life here on earth and make me proud. Be happy. I was like, oh. So it makes sense what you said, when you know that your loved one is in a good place, the grieving is a little bit less easier. And that's how I'm able to heal.
Absolutely. The healing part, first of all, for me, it's ongoing. I don't think today you wake up and go, ta-da, I'm healed. Pain might not be as palpable as the first day, the first year, the first decade, whatever that looks like. But everybody deals with the grief topic differently. And there's not two people who do it the same. And sometimes I was in the hospice realm, and sometimes it was instant death. Sometimes it was suicide, whoever it was. And so every single one of those travesties, as soon as I flipped it to homecoming, not only did it change my manuscript from, oh God, another death, are you kidding me, to homecoming, then you allow the joy. But guess how guilty, hello, there's no place for guilt or regret, but guess how guilty you feel the very first time you laugh, the person has died.
Yep.
Think about, oh my gosh. And then you kind of cry because you're like, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to laugh. What?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of different ways to do it. And the regret piece, if you can live each day with no regret.
Yeah.
And when someone does go home, as I call it, you have that regret piece, because quite frankly, for me, what I have witnessed with people who have shared is a lot of their grief is regret. So if you live with no regret, the grieving of the person who gets to go home is less. But you know where they are. You did everything possible to make them happy, to join in their life, to be a part of their life, even to be a part of their legacy. And now they get to go home. You didn't call them there.
Yeah.
And so now you don't have the regret piece. The grief is not as tragic feeling for me. It would have been as if I had to bury this person and go, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry about this, and I'm so sorry about that. And you've got so many unresolved issues. If we live like we don't have those unresolved issues, and we certainly don't have regret, the grief journey, in my experience, will not be as devastating.
hmm And I like the concept of the homecoming because I couldn't put a finger on it, but I was doing the exact same thing. But it makes so much sense what you're able, you have the facility, like the easy ability to just put something and make it understandable, put the finger on it. And that's what it is for me. It is the homecoming. Like there's a part of us go, it's so long. Like how long will I be on this earth? I'm gonna be suffering and I don't get to see my loved one and I miss them entirely. And so when I see it as a homecoming, I say to my sister, I write in my diary, or when I'm being inspired, I always say, sis, can't wait to see you again. And I see myself as like I am living life to the fullest, the best that I can, because that's what she would want. And when that day comes, when I die, when my timing has come, I will have zero regret and I get to see her again. Like for me, it's like, I can't wait for the excitement. And not that I can't wait, I'm in a hurry to go and join her, but I know that one day in not too long of a distance time, we'll get to meet each other again. And timing from a different world, like maybe we think the timing in this world, it seems so long, but
Yes.
in another world, in another reality, it's a split second.
Yes. And that is a very good point too, is the split second piece.
Mhm.
The people who have gone before us, and again, depending upon your belief system, for me, it's the heaven piece. The people who have gone before us, they already know how the navigation piece looks for them to go home.
Yeah.
We don't know that yet.
Mm.
So, well, there's a lot of ways to die, of course, but we don't know our end yet. And so for me, they have the blessing of knowing how their life on earth ended.
Mhm.
They get to go home, which again, and that's again, the firecrackers are so perfect for today. And to be able to have that blessing times a million. And I think back and look on the people who have gone before us, when they see us now grieving, miserable, making everybody else's lives miserable, are they proud of us?
We are making other people's life miserable.
Absolutely. Oh no, here she comes again. God, she's going to talk about death. Oh no.
Yeah.
Is that what you think they would want? Or
Mhm.
think they are excited about the fact that you did the best you could with the resources that you had at the time to either bring honor and glory to God, of course, or
Mhm.
their lives, and to actually be able to mention them or to share. And that way, like I say, when somebody says, I'm so sorry for your loss, oh my gosh, I
Mhm.
lose them, they died. If I lost them, I could find them again, and I don't have that option. So
Mhm.
I just think in terms of tell me about her, or do you have a picture? Let me see a picture on your phone. What's your best memory? Those kind of things, because many times the people who are the remainders, the survivors,
Mhm.
we want a platform, and you say, hey, would you like to hear about my, and they go, oh no. But if they realize that that's therapeutic, then now all of a sudden you've got an instant icebreaker. Most of the time people bring you a chocolate cake or a bottle of wine or a
Mhm.
lily, or all those things that you get when people have passed away in your life. And one time I specifically remember my house looked like a florist.
Mhm.
People just, that's how they coped with themselves, is to give me all these plants and all these flowers and all these everything. And I literally looked around and went, somebody's got to get these out of here. First of all, I don't do that. But second of all, get it out of here. And so I had some friends that were terrific, and they took those things to nursing homes, and people were blessed by all this stuff. But that is not me. But I know now, looking back, at the time I thought, oh my gosh, not another one. And of course, all the thank you notes I had to write. So the bigger issue for me was, now someone else can be blessed by the blessing that someone gave me that is not a good fit. So I know now, looking at that, a peace lily or a chocolate cake or a bottle of wine is someone else's way of saying, I'm here for you. I don't know what else to do. This is the best way I know to cope with your loss. And so please accept my peace lily. I don't know what else to do for you. And in my book, one of the things I say is, call me, Ry. I know your sister died yesterday, so call me if you need anything. And how many people did you call after that?
None.
Correct. Call me if you need anything. That's what people say, because it makes them feel, I told her to call me if she needs anything. She hasn't called yet. Thank you, God. And so you do that again to make yourself feel better because you don't know what else to say.
Mhm,
Then what I recommend in the book is I actually say, Ry,
mhm,
going to lunch next Tuesday. I'm going to let you pick the place. I'm picking you up. Let me know if you need anything before or after. And
mhm,
we're going to go to lunch. You get to pick the spot. So if you want a private, small little place, or if you want to go into a grandiose location, but we're going out to eat. So you pick. And
mhm,
that way you either say, I'm not comfortable leaving my house yet.
mhm,
Then that person can then say, great, then I'm bringing over, what's your favorite something?
mhm,
Way they have actually said, I'm bringing this over, or we are going to lunch. I'll pick you up at 11. And so then you don't have a choice. Call me if you need anything. I need
mhm,
to get out of the house. I need to go to lunch. I need to eat something before I pass out. But this
mhm.
person who's been there before, because they earned their PhD, DD,
Right.
they're going to say Tuesday at 11, I'm coming over. What's the deal? You have
Mhm.
plans, you need anything? You need me to go fetch something? You need me to take you out shopping? What are we going to do on Tuesday at 11? And so
Mhm.
that person, you can tell, has had the experience before. So you can always tell the people who have gone through the grief journey experience. That's why I call it death, dying, and survivorship, because we survived the person's death who has gone before us. And now we know how to help someone else, which I think is what we're on the planet for.
Mhm. I love, there's so many things that you mentioned in there. It's so jam-packed full of so much wisdom and so much knowledge. Like, brought me back to when you first wrote your book, like your coach, when you said, who's going to read it? I had the exact same response for myself when I was trying to write my book, which I hope it's coming out soon. We're in like heavy, serious editing mode. And I'm like, oh my God, when is this going to
I
end?
know.
But I want it to be very good. So I want to be able to put something that I could be proud of. And I want to make her proud. But something that you had said with regards to our loved one who's gone, like to be able to do it in a way where you continue to make them proud on this journey that you're doing. So for me, it's like it's the legacy. So that hummingbird, it is her. She bought me a bracelet before in Portland in the US, her favorite place to go, um next to the water, and is very zen. And she came back with 2 bracelets that says you are making a difference.
Oh my gosh.
And so we would both wear it. It still brings me so much joy. I still have that bracelet. It's white and it has the hummingbird on it. And then when I open it, she wrote me a beautiful little notes, and it reminds and it tells me, remember that you're making a difference in this world. And so the hummingbird is this is her legacy. I continue to do what I do because I am so obsessed with I can't get enough
Well,
of
and
it.
think about that, the blessing that you have every single time you do a podcast, a video, a recording, your sister is blessed by that. And please know that, because you are honoring her. The hummingbird is her symbol, and sharing her story instead of going, shh, don't talk about Ry's sister. It'll make her cry. Well, I always say, I appreciate that, but you don't have the power to make me cry.
Mhm.
Person who has died and missing them makes me cry, but you don't have the power to do that. So
Mhm.
I'm crying, it's because I miss them, not because you brought it up. They're never out of my mind, not
Yeah.
for a second. And
No.
they instantly think, shh, don't talk about her sister, she'll forget. Now, for me, as far as my book is concerned, in the olden days, when I first published it in 2017, everybody says you need to charge $100. And I actually had some of the people who bought it early on, and I mailed it to them. A lady actually sent me, this is the sweetest thing. I remember this vividly. She sent me a $100 bill cash in the mail, which don't ever do that, by the way. But she sent it to me in mail, and she said, honey, I know you're not charging near enough for your book, and you are a blessing to me and to other people, and I wanted you to have this. And I just thought, she gets it, first of all, but it was just such a funny thing to me, because the money part was so not part of the journey. And so everybody on the call knows my book, all 3 of them actually, but my grief journey is recorded on my YouTube channel, which means for you, it's free. Reading it. And the reason I did that is because I wanted to allow people to have some of my suggestions. And again, it's my opinion. If you like chocolate cake and wine and peace lilies, then go for it. But for me, it was not a good fit. And so it's my opinion. And so it's on my YouTube channel. Again, reintroduced me as Kathy Weaver KC, which stands for Kansas City. That's home base for me. And so if you go to YouTube on the playlist, He Hit the Clouds Running and Never Looked Back. And then you'll have the whole book there with the suggestions, what to say and what not to say when someone has died.
I would definitely be checking it out for sure. You have so much knowledge, so much to share, but all done with so much humility and humbleness, and it's very rare to see. So I am in like a huge blessing in your presence. So I'm like, when I saw you right away on HMP, I'm like, this woman, I gotta need a bit of that wisdom.
Well, and I'm never going to look at a hummingbird the same way twice without thinking of your sister.
Oh, thank you so much. It's funny, it's what you just said means so much to me. So thank you for that. She's always alive and well. And even though that the person that left this world, I always feel that they're always with you. They never really leaves you. And the stories and the memories and everything that we do, because my kids still talk to me about it these days, like when we go into the car wash, because she used to take them for a car wash with all these beautiful colors, rainbows, and the soap had so many things and light. And so when we go there, we remember her and we celebrate her, and it's all these beautiful moments we have together.
And think of that, a car wash, and your kids remember that. I think that's magnificent.
It's like a celebration every time we do that. The other things that I also realized too is that, we can choose. You can either choose. I know everybody grieves at a different level, so I'm not imposing anything on anybody. We all have our journey, and I'll share that. But I always say to myself, I can either keep staying laying on the ground and let this process be even longer, or do I heal the best I can, doing my very best every single day that I can in the healing process, and rip it off as quickly as possible, hit the ground running as fast as I can, doing my very best. There are days I still say, like, although I am completely, I didn't know how to take the grieving process, what I'm supposed to expect. I know because I'm in the helping field of all of the cycle, the stages. And I did go through all of those stages, and you come back and but now I'm just at a different place. Why? Because I really believe that we're all divine human being. We have the answer to a thing. We just need to ask and trust. And so when I ask her, sis, help me, because the pain is so deep, like missing you, the missing of you makes me grieve it, and it's so painful. I don't know how to take this pain away. And it's not, I used to think that when you miss a person is when you go through really horrible things or is very saddened that you actually miss them. But I miss my sister the most when I'm the most happy.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, because I wish she used to be the first person I go to. Oh my God, I get to celebrate her first. Oh my God, but she's not there anymore. So, it really depends. But with regards to the grieving process, when I asked her, help me, and she did. And she basically, we used to challenge each other. We give no bullshit. We say things as it is, take it or leave it. It's tough love. And so basically what she said to me is, will you stop it? She go, it's great. I am very grateful for you to be grieving me and missing me. It means a lot to me, but you don't need to do this for me. You're not doing it for me. You're doing it for yourself. The crying, the sad, and all of that stuff. Stop it. Turn the page, move on, be happy. Get it together, sis. So she's like, I'm gone. There's nothing left to talk about. What is the whole point of this crying and all of this game? Get up, get going, make me proud. I'm like, that is so tough what you just said. That's kind of mean. Like, how do I get going and be? And she said, you have the answer. I believe in you. Figure it out. Do it. And when you really do miss me, when you really, truly, truly, truly needs me, because I don't think you ever will, I will appear in your dream and I will come and help you. Just ask for me anytime that you need it. And ever since then, I haven't seen her in my dream because I guess things are going well.
Absolutely. And that's a good point. Do you know her favorite fragrance?
Yes, we do, because it's the perfume that I liked.
Well, the reason I was asking is a lot of times I suggest to people
Yes,
the favorite fragrance of your loved one. If you don't have it from their personal belongings, just go buy some and
right.
please spritz a cotton ball and put it strategically near your bed if that's not too painful, or near your office, whatever that looks like. Just
Right.
a little spritz. If it's not your fragrance that you like, then you don't put it on your skin probably, but that way you just have a little cotton ball around the house or around the office. And that way you smell that and go, oh my gosh. And it's like a little blessing, like a little hummingbird for that particular person to say, don't forget, I'm with you.
Yeah. And it's, oh my God, it must be the universe speaking. Do you know, Kathy, there is a saying in Cambodian, like, well, a ritual that my mom tells me. She goes, your loved one, they tell you they're present, and it's through smell. Like, there are days when I just wake up, like I'm very sad about something, and then I'll be sitting, and then that smell of her comes over, and I'm like, oh my God, she's here.
That's
And
awesome.
what you're saying is exactly it. That's how in our culture we know that the loved one is around us, is when we smell their fragrance, like something. I'm like, but nobody sprayed her perfume here. Like, where is it coming from? Where's the smell? But somehow it just magically, and I'm like, okay, she really is here. And then I would talk to her. I'm like, hey sis, how things are going. And people think like, oh, that's crazy, you're talking to your sister. I don't, everybody their own thing, whatever, whatever rocks your boat. Like me, for me, that's me. Like when I see her and I talk to her, it makes me feel good. She used to love the fire. She writes in her journal whatever she has to go through, and she would burn them so nobody else sees it and leave it up. And so I would go through that journey when it's her anniversary, would write how much, everything that gone through that entire year, burn the paper, and then talk to her and send it off to the heavens as a ritual of honoring her every single year.
That's
And I planted, sorry about that. I planted a magnolia tree on her birthday, April the 28th. So my magnolia tree is, when I'm looking at it, I'm like, you're still here with me. So I get to see these beautiful magnolia flowers.
that is that. And once again, think about what you've done. Your grief, changed it, flipped it, and you're able to honor her, because you know perfectly well she would not be happy if you're just sitting around weeping all the time when you've got so much to offer the world. So I'm thrilled to be on your show today, Ry.
Same here for me too. I want to be able to honor you, Kathy. I want to be able to have people discover Kathy. So what Kathy has going on, line up in terms of projects that are exciting that you can share with the audience right now, that will be fabulous.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for that. I get to do a lot of social media training, and I call myself a trainer instead of a coach, because I train. What you do with the information is up to you. I have found that many times coaches continue coaching, and I train you one time, and certainly a redo, if you will. But most of the time, if I'm recording it, then you're able to play it back again and learn from it. But I am a trainer, and I love training on Kangen water. That's one of my favorite things. I became certified in 2014 with my company, and that has been a blessing times a million. And so Miracles with Water is my DBA, doing business as, and that has been awesome. Then with my books, back in the day pre-pandemic, I was doing a lot of training for the United States Chamber of Commerce. That was a blast. And they flew me to Madison, Wisconsin to train the Chamber of Commerce executives throughout the country. Oh my gosh, I love doing that. So the training piece is a huge part of my DNA. So now I am able to train virtually, and quite frankly, I can go further distance-wise on a virtual call and a training class. And so now I get to do posting parties across the globe. And again, to HNP, Happy Neighborhood Project, I got to train the Public Speakers Association of India for posting parties, and they had not heard of posting parties before. And because of that, I got another gig for a posting party in India from an alumni association. And you see what I mean, Ry? It just comes full circle.
Mhm.
Sell Kangen water machines. I've written 3 books, and because of everything that integrates in between all of those segments, now I help people across the globe, and they get to pick what segment, what topic it is. I'm being able to help people, and having my books recorded, and then people write to me and say, now I want the back version. How much is it? And I ship it to wherever they need it. But now they've heard it. They want the book in their hand. And the next thing you know, we have a relationship. And I love that.
It's so beautiful. Everything is really interconnected, and they
Yes.
tie in a loop. So just, it's crazy. Like this whole interview just been so good. Like I am squeezing the juice out of this as much as I can. And I will be re-listening at my podcast again and again, because there's so much out there. I got to write it all down. You are a natural trainer, Kathy. It shows. You are a whiz at this. You do it so flawlessly and so efficiently. I'm like, if I get to be like that one day, anything, a quarter, I'd be celebrating, tapping myself in the back. But you are an inspiration, Kathy. Absolutely.
Well, thank you again for having me. I really appreciate celebrating Canada Day with you, and definitely 4th of July USA on Tuesday. So thank you again.
Yes, it's such a pleasure. On that note, wishing everybody a happy Canada Day and Independent Day in the US, our fellow friends and fellow countrymen. So on that note, Kathy, thank you for doing me the honor for being on the show here today. It's such a pleasure of having you, and I got to learn so much more, and I'm going to still discover so much more from you. So thank you for that.
I'm excited for our relationship to continue. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye now.
Bye.
Hello, baby. ¿Qué es eso? ¿Un llama?